Yeah, yeah. Aren't you glad you're not in the tourism industry?
It'd be tough. There's some industries have been hit very hard by
Hugely
COVID-19.
hard.
Yeah.
And it's Jenny Aitchison who was saying, and we've done this before. It's not just the 500,000 jobs lost in the tourism industry, right? That's one individual. Multiply that by family.
Yeah.
Do they think about relocating? The upheaval that, of course, they reckon moving, right? When you move, the stress and the trauma you go through is similar to losing in death a loved one.
Wow.
So that's what the psychologists.
The multiplier effect is obviously the big factor there as well. Every one job you lose has a multiplier effect of, depending on the industry. I mean, Jenny mentioned 7 then.
Yep.
I've heard numbers of, say, 3 or 4. There's a multiplier effect from one job.
Yep.
So there's definitely another impact.
Small business, a tourism office that sometimes in our way outback towns could be part of a convenience store, closes.
Yep.
The shop shuts.
That's right.
Effect on the town. Aren't you glad you're not in that? Now, just to get on that too, I want to get into this other thing too, which could lose jobs as well.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't get JobKeeper at Axis, did you?
No.
Because your debt, you didn't plummet great losses.
Well, it was a deliberate objective by myself, actually, where I came in and said to the staff, JobKeeper's there, we don't want it. We don't want to drop 30% in our turnover. Let's do everything we can. So we opened longer hours. We had staff working longer hours, had staff doing overtime. A whole range of initiatives to try and not drop 30%. And if it had have dropped 30%, yes, we would have been eligible. We didn't, thankfully. We a bit of luck and a bit of good management, I suppose, combined to make sure we didn't drop by that 30%. And we went okay through COVID-19.
And I like that clever tactic you used at Axis at the square too, by turning all the lights out of the square except leaving your shop ones on. Adjudicated you were the only business. Hey mate, driving tests. Now we're going to get EV vehicles, and you have 7 of them. These vehicles, they stay in their own lanes. They park themselves. They stop if things become too dangerous. Why do we need driving tests?
Well, the interesting part is that I believe another generation down the track, not tomorrow, but give it another 15, 20 years, I believe that a lot of people won't worry about getting a driving test because they won't need it. And in fact, I remember when I took a car for a test drive one day, it was a fairly modern car, and I sat there and as I was driving it, I said to the salesman sitting beside me that it didn't have heads-up display in the windscreen. And I kind of expected most modern, reasonably high-end cars to have heads-up display. And he said, well, think about it. You won't need it soon. The car will do the driving for you. So why would you need a heads-up display to tell you how fast you're going? And that's the mentality of the car manufacturers that are aiming towards that autonomous driving. You don't need to worry about the speed because the car's taking care of the speed for you.
How does it take care of the speed? How does it know when the speed limit changes?
It's actually got a couple of different ways to do it. Some of them actually read the signs on the side of the road.
So you're doing 100,
yep,
right, Ks, and you go past one that says 60.
And it says,
what does it slam on the brakes?
No, it'll see it far enough in advance, it'll start slowing down. It's
or in fact, Matty Dickinson, will the visionary politicians and lawmakers say what we're going to do is graduate the signs?
Sorry, you just said some swear words there. Visionary politicians, I don't understand, I don't compute.
Graduate, so you're in the 100k zone, and they'll put one that says 70, one that says 65 and 60. So
there are definitely things that will need to change as we go for that autonomous driving. But the interesting thing is it's not perfect. I went behind a bus one day and the bus has a big 40 sign on the back of it, and my car thought I was then entering a 40 zone. So there's still some work to be done. The other way I can do it obviously is via GPS. It knows your location, it knows the speed zone in that location. The reason they tend to prefer reading signs is because if you come to roadworks, those roadworks, for example, in a GPS environment might be 100k, but they might be a 40k roadworks. When your car reads the sign, then it sees that it's 40k. So a combination of the two is really the way they'll go forward with it.
So no licenses?
I think in another generation, we won't have a need for a driver's license because our cars will be able to drive for us.
Where does that leave driving instructors and driving schools?
Trying to find different occupations,
trying
to find different vocations.
Weren't you, adapting to the way it's going?
It's happened forever, hasn't it? Ever since the beginning of humankind, things have changed and people have had to be able to adapt. There aren't stonemasons anymore because, or people, making tools out of stone, but they've adapted to other jobs. Watchmakers, we don't see watchmakers anymore, but they've adapted to other jobs.
Why would you want a watchmaker when you buy a watch at Woolies for $10?
And throw it away when it stops working. That's what I mean. So those sort of occupations have been changing forever. Driving instructors, I think you'll still need some in the future, but maybe the number will reduce as autonomous driving starts to take over.
But what happens when you need to recharge your Tesla?
It takes you to a charging
But
station.
you have to get out, don't you? And so you'll be useful or not?
Well, no, you have to park over a wireless charging pad, so you won't need to worry about getting out then.
So if you're a driving instructor or a driving school, maybe even panel beaters won't be useful because we stop.
Or reduce the number of accidents, definitely.
Panel beater, you better be an accountant or something. You come up with scary stuff.
Be a radio host, maybe.
Hope so. Matthew Dickerson.